So far, we have learned a ton of built-in view directives. For example, vOn, vBind, vModel, vIf, vShow, v_for, and so on and so forth. Can we design our own custom directives? The answer is yes. Vue allows us to register our own custom directives, either globally or locally. So locally means here you can only use these custom directives in the current HTML file. Let me show you an example. I'm under 03 custom directives.html. In this case, when I refresh the page, I got two input boxes, so no surprise. But what happened here is when the page gets loaded, two input boxes, but there's no focus. In other words, none of the boxes are focused. So what do I mean by focus? So this is focused, okay? So people can start typing immediately. What I want to do is, once the page gets loaded, I want the first input box to automatically gain focus, so people can start typing immediately. This is very user-friendly. For example, if I go to Google, if I press enter, when the page gets loaded, I do not have to move my cursor here and click. I can start typing, right? For example, football. So it's one less click. Now this is very user-friendly. So can we do that in Vue? Yes, we can. We can use a custom directive. I'm going to define a custom directive called vFocus. So first, I'm going to use this vFocus. vFocus. Well, this is not a built-in one. Okay, we're going to design it. I'm using a non-existent directive, so vFocus. Now down here in script, we're going to define this vFocus. Here is syntax. We're going to use Vue. So this is the class dot directive and design it here. In directives, we're going to give this directive a name. In this case, is focus. You don't have to type v-focus because by default, they will add v- in front. So just focus. We're going to define a hook function called inserted. And in this function, we're going to define what happened if an HTML element, in this case is input, get this vFocus directive. So this is the meaning of this directive. By default, we'll pass an element. So element dot focus. So let me explain. This element refers to the HTML element this directive, in this case vFocus, is bound to. In this example, element refers to the first input box. So the first input box dot focus, so this is a native JS code. Any element dot focus will automatically gain focus when the page gets loaded. Let me refresh. So I refresh, the first box automatically gets focus. Now, can we add this vFocus here? Well, you can do it here, but when you refresh, the second one gets focus. The first one, even though we have vFocus, it doesn't get focus because at one time, only one HTML element can get focus on the page. So this is how we define a global custom directive. In this example, I'm going to show you how can we pass some values or arguments to a custom directive. For example, in 04 custom directive with arguments.html, I defined a custom directive called v-color. Now, this is not a built-in one, so we define it by ourselves. And here is the syntax to define a global custom directive. View.directive color. Right now, the body here is empty. But this is different from demo 3, is that in this case, we're passing some argument to this v-color directive. If color, as you can see, color here is connected to this color property in data object. Right now it's gray, so gray is passed to color. What we really want to do is we're going to paint the background of hello world to gray. Now if I change this to red, it'll be red. Okay, but this color here is really a placeholder. So let me change it back to gray. So what we can do here is this time we're not going to use inserted hook function. Okay, hook function. We're going to use another one called bind. So in bind, we're going to define a function. Now this EL, remember this EL refers to the element that this V color is bound to. In this case, EL refers to this div. This binding here represents color. How do we get the value in color? You cannot just assign binding to the style of this EL. We have to use binding.value. So just remember this. So this is the syntax. Binding.value returns the value of color. In this case, the value of color is gray. So gray is assigned to this EL. This EL refers to this div.style.background color. When I save, and if I refresh, now this div has gray. If I change this to purple, refresh, it gets purple. So that's how we pass argument to a custom directive. In demo 3 and demo 4, I showed you how to register global custom directives. In demo 3, we register a global custom directive called vFocus, and in demo 4, we got one called vColor. Now in demo 5, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to register them locally. In other words, only the current HTML can use those directives. So basically just copy and paste. I copied the code from demo 3, demo 4 into demo 5. This is in demo 3, vFocus, and here is vColor. And how do we do this locally? It's very simple. In this view object, we add one more property called directives. Now inside, we defined two directives. So now this view instance becomes longer. Let me collapse some of them so you can see the structure clearly. Const app assignment operator new view. Right now there are 4 properties. The first one is element app. So we're going to let view take care of div with id equal to app. Second is models, or the data here. In this case, there is only one. It's color. The third property is methods. We define all the methods here. Right now it's empty. And the fourth one here is optionally, we can have directives. This is the first directive, vColor, and the second one, vFocus.